All right, everybody. So far, you've been taking a look at the idea of the media as a so-called gatekeeper of information. So for this activity, which I will model two examples of, you will be expected to go on the following media sites to research their top stories. First is the Associated Press. You can see the website. It's apnews.com, which focuses on news throughout the US and the world. Next up, we have the Boston Globe, which focuses on news throughout the Boston and surrounding towns and cities, but it also occasionally will cover some important US and world stories too. No doubting that. And lastly, the Lynn Item, which is based out of Lynn, which focuses on Lynn, Massachusetts, as well as the surrounding towns and cities. So, for each media site, as you will see, you must answer what is one top story that they have identified and the basic topic of the story, basically the important part of the story. And do you think that this particular story would appear in another media site? Why or why not? So, I'm going to model an example up on the screen. You can see the very first website that we're going to use is the Associated Press's website. So if I go onto the AP News website, let me pull that up right now. If I go onto apnews.com, you can see over here on my screen, you can see the top story for today is Pentagon. That's our nation's government, the military defense area. The Pentagon reverses itself, calls deadly Kabul, Afghanistan strike an error. So if I click on that particular website, I pull up the article. And I don't really need to read the article. I might just read the first couple sentences of it. And I gain some information about what exactly happened. All right, so I do that and I gain some basic information about what happened. And you can see over here, I gained that the topic of the story deals with a U.S. military attack on Afghanistan. So I've typed in the title of the story. I have written that the basic topic of the story is of a U.S. military attack on Afghanistan. And then the question that I see over here says, do you think that this story would appear in the Lynn item? So why or why not? So I see over here, I think that the story would not appear in the Lynn item. So let's see why. I have this is because, and I have a sentence starter right there. This is because this is a major story involving the U.S. government's handling of a drone strike bombing in Afghanistan. While this is a major U.S. and world story, the Lynn item probably would not cover this story. That's because, if somebody from Lynn area was involved in it, maybe unfortunately, if somebody was struck by that bombing who was from Lynn, maybe they might talk about it. But Lynn item, local newspapers, probably not going to talk about a bombing in Afghanistan. Okay, let's take a look at a next example now. Our next example deals with the Boston Globe. So if I go into the Boston Globe's website right now, on the Boston Globe, I can see that this particular Boston Globe, I'm on the headlines, and I see that the big topic is sports. About the colorful history of the New York Jets Patriots. It says it could be a new chapter in other thoughts from the famous columnist Dan Shaughnessy. So you can see over here that I type in the title of the story, colorful history of the Jets Patriots could be starting a new chapter in other thoughts. And the topic of the story is the rivalry between the New England Patriots and Jets football teams. Now, the question that I have next here is, do you think this story would appear in the Lynn item? Why or why not? Now, I said I don't think this story would appear. I think this story would not appear in the Lynn item. So let's go very quickly. If we go onto the Lynn items website, I'm on itemlive.com. I can see there's a lot of news stories, particularly about Lynn, Peabody, and the surrounding areas. And if I click on the sports section for the Lynn item, I see that it basically talks about local high schools, a lot of stuff about local high schools, people from Lynn participating in like the marathon. So it's mostly local sports. So my response is, I don't think the story would appear, and this is because the Lynn item appears to mostly cover sports events from Lynn and the surrounding areas. The Patriots, as we know, are obviously very, very popular, but the Lynn item does not seem to cover them all that much. If they were in the playoffs or even the Super Bowl, the championship for football, the Lynn item then might talk about the Patriots. All right, so you're going to want to now continue. I've provided you with particular links. You want to continue exactly as I have done. I change up question 2 for each particular media site, depending upon the particular media site that you have to go on, though. And if you get done the 3 media sites that I have provided, I did put some aspire to do extra credit examples that you might want to work on. All right, good luck. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.